Okay, so this video is for all my people out there who, like me, really struggle to communicate sometimes with other people. Most of my life, because I don't see things the way other people do, my experiences have been quite different than most people's, and I just don't have the same, I don't know what the word, it's not even perspective. I just don't have the same beliefs. Maybe that's what it is. This hair has been fucking me. It won't stay down. I give up. Anyways, but yeah, my hair is a lost cause. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I just can't. I should maybe get my hat back. Anyways, what I was gonna say was, so my hair distracted me. Typical me. Anyways, yeah, I've always struggled with communication with people, and the biggest problem I think I've had is that because my experiences are, I guess it's usually around fear, right? Like the way I perceive things changes how I see something, if it's gonna scare me or not. Like the biggest one, of course, is nature. I've never had a problem going into the woods alone, even at the risks of there being wolves or bears or bobcats or mountain lions or coyotes. I will say I was a lot more cautious in the part of California, I was north of Sacramento, and just the part of California we were in was fairly wild, right? So there's like big ass rattlesnakes and big mountain lions, and not to mention the coyotes and stuff. So I was definitely cautious, but I learned how to kind of watch the trails, right, to see where their tracks were. And animals have patterns, so you just get used to it. And I've always just enjoyed being in nature, and as long as I followed my intuition when I was in nature. And as a kid, I always thought it was just a game I used to play, where I would follow the signals and the signs, like little, fairies were talking to me, or I'd make up games and I'd play, because I was alone a lot, and the woods, being in nature, was the safest place for me. So I spent a lot of time hiding alone in the bush from a very young age. For hours. And of course my mother assumed I was being watched by my stepfather, who, I don't know what the hell he was doing, but I used to spend copious amounts of times alone in the bush, even as a small kid. Probably not even within earshot of my house, actually, when I think about it. I survived. Imagine that. Yeah, and I just learned how to trust my intuition and how to trust Mother Nature and the animals. Because animals will tell you, right, when things are off, their patterns will change. And if normally they're doing a certain thing at a certain time of day and they're not doing it, there's a reason. So, but when I start sharing these experiences with people, or even my experiences I've had like in the city, or social experiences with school, I still can't, now as an adult, when I think about the story of how I kind of took over teaching my grade 8 class when the substitute teacher, in my opinion, failed. I had some pretty big balls. But at the time, that's not what it felt like to me. At the time, I was just offended. It was more like, why am I here for an education when I'm being taught by somebody who knows less than me? That's my brain. It hurt my brain. It hurt my brain so bad. Again, you try sharing that idea with somebody, and it gets hard, because a lot of people, because you challenge their beliefs and you're not validating their fear, because you don't have the same perception of the experience, they tend to get defensive naturally. And especially if they're not emotionally aware, or they're still healing through some of their childhood belief systems that haven't, been fully rewired for their highest good. But yeah, you tend to end up with a lot of conflict that way. And so you just stop sharing shit. You just stop wanting to tell people your ideas or your experiences because they're so opposing to other people's or so unique, possibly not even opposing necessarily, because opposing means that you don't believe theirs is valid, which isn't true. Most of us who have opposing views are not sharing the opposing view because we think your view is not valid. It's because it's actually quite fascinating. It's actually really cool to know that your experience is different than my experience. And I want to share my experience because you shared yours. And I want to know, right? I think it's beneficial to share experiences because then we get to learn from each other's experiences. So it's really great when they're not the same. But we've been taught by the system and programmed by the system that it's supposed to be the same. And if somebody doesn't have the same, there's something wrong with them. Have you noticed there's something wrong with everybody? Like everybody. Oh my gosh. I mean, seriously, go look at the statistics. There's something wrong with everybody. So, with that being said, maybe it's the system. You know, when they say that thing, right? If you're the person in the room that can't find the asshole in the room, you're probably the asshole. If everybody's having a problem but the system's the problem. But it's hard because it makes it kind of lonely when you don't relate to people. So if you're like me and you've had that experience and you find that when you're in social settings, you'd rather not talk because you just don't want to find out how unrelatable you are that day in that crowd. Especially when, you know, by watching them, you quickly know there's no one else in the crowd that's going to be able to hold two opposing views without becoming offended. You're just quiet. There's no point, right? It's a waste of energy. Why even bother? There's no point. So we don't talk. But that leads to eventually not going out. That leads to eventually not socializing. That leads to eventually like severe isolation. And then the problem with that, though, is we're the contrast. We're what people need. The problem is it's fucking exhausting. When you're the only one who's the contrast in the crowd. So, more of us need to support each other. So if you're like me, I see you. And I know you see me. So, know you're not alone in being the weird one. Know you're not alone in saying the thing nobody wanted to hear. Know you're not alone in disagreeing with the popular opinion of the day. There's lots of us out there. We're just kind of still hiding. But we're coming out slowly but surely, right? Hopefully. Because we need to. We really do. We need to be the contrast. And I want you guys to know that as much as the system has trained you to believe that by coming out and being your authentic selves and doing things not necessarily by all the rules made by man, that you're a bad person, you're actually not. You're really not. As long as in your heart, you know you don't want to hurt people, your intentions aren't 100% selfish with the desire to hurt people for your own gain, right? You don't have that in your heart. That's not who you are. You're going to do just fine. And the system actually has got nothing, and I mean this in a real sense, the system has got nothing on the power that is you. It's just a piece of you right now inside of who you really are that's trying to help train you to grow and expand and become bigger. And you literally chose to come here for this experience. So you can do this. You got this. Right? Anyways, have a great day. Goodbye.